Welcome to GK series. During whose reign Chanakya was the chief Hamata? Chandragupta Maurya. During whose reign Chanakya was the chief Hamta is Chandragupta Maurya. Under whose reign Chanakya was the chief Hamta is Chandragupta Maurya. Under which article Constitution Amendment Act it was made mandatory for the President to give his assent to the Constitutional Amendment Bill is 24th Constitutional Amendment 1971. Under which Constitutional Amendment Act it was made mandatory for the President to give his assent to the Constitutional Amendment Bill is 24th Constitutional Amendment Act 1971. That the science that studies the structure of body is called anatomy. The science that study the structure of body is called anatomy. According to which law the force between two objects is directly proportional to the product of their mass. Law of gravity. According to the which law the force between two objects is directly proportional to their mass is the law of gravity. Which tribe is found in the Nilgiri mountain? Toda tribe. Which tribe is found in the Nilgiri mountain? Toda tribe. Which tribe is found in Nilgiri mountain? Toda tribe. On which principle jet engine work? On the principle of conservation of linear momentum. On what principle does a jet engine work? On the principle conservation of linear momentum. On what principle does jet engine work? On principle of conservation of linear momentum. Who act as carrier of malaria parasite? Female Anopheles mosquito. And who act as a carrier of malaria parasite? Female Anopheles mosquito. And who act as a carrier of malaria parasite? Female Anopheles mosquito. Kulki Bird Sanctuary is located in which state? West Bengal. Kulik Bird Sanctuary is located in which state? West Bengal. In which year was the Awadh Kisan Sabha founded? In 1920. In which year was the Awadh Kisan Sabha founded? In 1920. In which year was the Awadh Kisan Sabha founded? In 1920. What conditions are needed for rice yield? High temperature, high humidity and precipitation. What conditions are needed for the rice yield? High temperature, high humidity and precipitation. Next is Shirui National Park located in which state? Manipur. Shirui National Park located in which state? Manipur. The term Panchashila is related to which policy? Indian foreign policy. The term Panchashila is related to which policy? India's foreign policy. Which article of Indian Constitution deals with the administration of Union territories? Article 239. Which article of Indian Constitution deals with the administration of Union territories is Article 239. The original family of America's first woman vice president Kamala Harris belonged to which state of India? Tamil Nadu. The original family of America's first woman vice president Kamala Harris belonged to the which state of India is Tamil Nadu. How average income of country is calculated? By dividing the country total income by its total population. How average income of country is calculated? By dividing the country's total income by total population. When World Philosophy Day is celebrated annually? On third Thursday of November. On third Thursday of November. Next. What is deuterium and tritium? These are the isotopes of the hydrogen. What is the deuterium and tritium? These are the isotope of the hydrogen. At which place were the fire ultras of Harappa culture found? Lothal. At which place were the fire ultras of Harappa culture found? At Lothal. What is the full form of GNP in economics? Such as growth national product. What is the full form of GNP in economics is growth national product. Lala Lajpat Roy was a member of which party? Extremist party. Lala Lajpat Roy was a member of which party? Extremist party. Which is the largest west flowing river in the peninsula of India? Narmada. Which is the largest west flowing river in the peninsula of India? Narmada. Which article of Indian Constitution provide for the earlier childhood care and education for children below 6 years of age is Article 45. Which article of Indian Constitution provide for earlier childhood care and education for children below 6 years of age is Article 45. Adi Kailash mountain is located in which state? Uttarakhand. Adi Kailash mountain located in which state? Uttarakhand. Dugong is an state animal of Indian Union Territory of Andaman and Nicobar. Dugong is the state animal of which Indian Union Territory? Andaman and Nicobar. India's famous traditional festival of Chhat Puja is dedicated to the god the sun. India's famous traditional festival Chhat Puja is dedicated to the god the sun. Kabini river is a tributary of which river? River Kaveri. Kabini river is a tributary of which river? River Kaveri. In which year was the national anthem adopted by the Constitutional Assembly of India in 1950? In which year was the national anthem adopted by the Constitutional Assembly in India is 1950. In 1950, the national anthem adopted by the Constitutional Assembly. How is the momentum of body defined? As a product of mass and velocity. M into V is known as the momentum. How is the moment of the body defined? As a product of mass and velocity. Varli painting is a style of tribal art created by the people of Varli tribe of which state? Maharashtra. Varli painting is a style of tribe art created by the people of Varli tribe of which state? Maharashtra. Where did Gautam Buddha attain enlightenment? Bodh Gaya. Where did the Gautam Buddha attain enlightenment is Bodh Gaya. Herpes disease is spread in the human by the virus. Herpes is the disease spread in the human by the virus. When is the World Pneumonia Day observed? November 12. World Pneumonia Day is observed in November 12. Where is the Hawa Mahal located? Hawa Mahal in the Rajasthan. Hawa Mahal located in Rajasthan. What measures of total economic output of the country is known as the real GDP? Real GDP means total economic output of the country is real GDP. Which Portuguese was the viceroy in India? Francisco de Almeida. Which Portuguese was the viceroy in India? That is Francisco de Almeida. Under which dynasty was the Kadami is a form of land revenue, that is the Chola dynasty. And which dynasty was the Kadamai? A form of land revenue is the Chola dynasty. In which city is the headquarters of SEBI located? Mumbai. In which city of the headquarters of SEBI located? Mumbai. In medium sound wave, mechanical wave cannot travel is known as a vacuum. In which medium sound mechanical wave cannot travel is vacuum. The rearing and maintenance of bees for honey is called apiculture. The rearing and maintenance of bee for honey is called apiculture. What is the acid injected to the skin when the snake what is the acid injected into the skin when an ant bite? It is a formic acid. When the ant bites, it releases some acid. It is known as the formic acid. Which provision of Constitution of India can be amended by a simple majority of the parliament is quorum in the parliament? Which provision of Constitution of India can be amended by a simple majority of a parliament is quorum in the parliament? And where is the Quwat al-Islam Mosque located in Delhi? Where is the Quwat al-Islam Mosque located in Delhi? Which tribe dominated the Punjab during the 13th and 14th centuries? That is such as Kakora tribe. And which tribe dominated the Punjab during the 13th and 14th centuries? Kakora tribe. Elephant caves contain the collection of rock paintings related to the Shaivism. The elephant caves contain the collection of rock paintings related to the which sector is Shaivism. How many states of India share their border with the Sikkim? One state. How many states of the India share their border with the Sikkim is one state. In which year was the Forest Conservation Act passed in India? In 1980. In which year was the Forest Conservation Act was passed in India is in 1980. Which is the river that flows the Tibet, India and Bangladesh is Brahmaputra. Which river that flows through the Tibet, India and Bangladesh is Brahmaputra. Who is the author of book titled The Rule Breakers is Preeti Shenoy. Who is the author of the book titled The Rule Breakers is written by the author is Preeti Shenoy. The Rule Breakers is Preeti Shenoy. Inertia can be measured by the mass. Inertia can be measured by the mass. In which year was the Bengal tiger accepted as the national animal of India? In 1972. In which year was the Bengal tiger accepted as the national animal in is 1972. Where is the Charminar located? Hyderabad. When was the first economic survey of India presented? 1950 to 51. And when was the first economic survey of India presented in 1950 to 1951. In which year was the Jnanapita Award was first awarded in 1965? In which year was the Jnanapita awarded the first? In 1965. In which year was the Jnanapita Award awarded in 1965? First economic survey is 50 to 51. And who was the Viceroy of India when Swami Dayanand Saraswati founded the Arya Samaj is Lord Northbrook. And who was the Viceroy of India when Swami Dayanand Saraswati founded the Arya Samaj is Lord Northbrook. And which acid is known as the vinegar? Acetic acid. Which acid is known as the vinegar? Acetic acid. And which is the highest mountain peak located in the Arunachal Pradesh? Gorichen. Which is the highest mountain peak located in the Arunachal Pradesh is Gorichen. And in which state that is Jallikattu festival of bull taming celebrated in Tamil Nadu? And which state of the Jallikattu the festival of bull taming is celebrated in Tamil Nadu? How many colors of rings of the symbol of Olympic Games in 5? How many colors are there in the rings in the symbol of the Olympic Games in 5? The Razia Sultan, the first female Muslim ruler of India, was the daughter of the Turkish ruler of Shamsuddin Iltutmish. The Razia Sultan was the first female Muslim ruler of India who was the daughter of the Turkish ruler of India Shamsuddin Iltutmish. Which dance style is related to the Lakshmi Narayana Shastri? Kuchipudi. And which dance style is related to the Lakshmi Narayana Shastri is Kuchipudi. From which state is cotton cloth calico originated? Kerala. From which state is the cotton cloth calico originated? Kerala. When All the Indian Tennis Association established in 1920? When was the All India Tennis Association established in India? 1920. When was the All India Tennis Association established in India? In 1920. Which momentum was led by the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel? Bardoli Satyagraha. And which movement was led by the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel is Bardoli Satyagraha. Which movement was led by the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel is Bardoli Satyagraha. And when was the Awadh occupied by the British East India Company? 1856. When was the Awadh occupied by the British East India Company is 1856. And in 1856, Awadh occupied by the British East India Company. In which form of classical singer Girija Devi, well versed in Hindustani classical music? Tumri. In which form of classical singer Girija Devi, well versed in Hindustani classical music, is Tumri? What was the language of administration under the Delhi Sultanate? Is Persian. What was the language of administration under the Delhi Sultanate? Is Persian. Merlin National Park located in the Mizoram. The Merlin National Park located in which state is Mizoram? In which year was the Indian Museum established in the Kolkata? In 1814. In which year was the Indian Museum established in Kolkata? In 1814. In which year was the Indian Museum established in Kolkata? In 1814. How many Persian historians describe the Muslim sultans, that is shadow of God? How many Persian historians describe the Muslim sultans shadow of God? The change of liquid into a gas any room temperature is less than its boiling point is known as vaporization. The change of liquid into gas at any temperature less than its boiling point is known as vaporization. How many Persian historians describe the Muslim sultans as shadow of God? Where is the National Salt Satyagraha Memorial located? In Gujarat. Where is the National Salt Satyagraha Memorial located? Gujarat. At which place the river Mandakini meet the Alaknanda river is Rudraprayag? In which state river the Mandakini meet the Alaknanda is Rudraprayag? Which game is related to the Youth Cup is lawn tennis? Which game is related to the Youth Cup is lawn tennis? And in which language in the Tulsidas composition of Ramacharitra Manasa written by in the Awadhi language? In which language is Tulsidas composition the Ramacharitra Manasa written in Awadhi? In which year did the Mughal Emperor Akbar die? In 1605. In which year Mughal Emperor Akbar die? In 1605. Which is the longest river in the Sri Lanka? Mahaveli Ganga. Which is the longest river in Sri Lanka? Mahaveli Ganga. Which is the longest river in the Sri Lanka is Mahaveli Ganga. And who built the Red Fort in Shah Jahan? Who built the Red Fort in Delhi? Shah Jahan. Which crop requires a maximum water per hectare for its production is sugarcane. Which crop requires a maximum water per hectare for its production is sugarcane. In which year was the Hunter Commission appointed by the Lord Ripon is 1882. At which year was the Hunter Commission appointed by the Lord Ripon is 1882. In one cycle of heart, how many blood passes through the how often blood passes through heart of fish? One time. It is a single circulation, so it is known as the one time. Under which section of Indian Penal Code snooping is a crime? Section 354C. Under section of Indian Penal Code, the snooping is a crime. Section under 354C. Under section 354C, snooping is a crime. Who was the first musician to be awarded the India's highest civilian honor is Bharat Ratna is M.S. Subbulakshmi. Who was the first musician to award the India's highest civilian honor? Bharat Ratna is M.S. Subbulakshmi. M.S. Subbulakshmi is a musician. In which year was the Communist Party of India founded in the Tashkent? In 1920. In which year was the Communist Party of India founded in Tashkent? Is 1920. What is the traditional dress worn by the men and women of the Kashmir called Pehran? What is the traditional dress worn by the men and women of the Kashmir is called Pehran? Who won the Battle of Plassey in 1757? Is British East India Company. Who won the Battle of Plassey in 1757 is British India Company. An induction motor was invented by the Nikola Tesla. Induction motor was invented by the Nikola Tesla. The induction motor was invented by the Nikola Tesla. Who became the first Indian member of Indian Civil Service in 1870? Satyendranath Tagore. Who became the first Indian member of Indian Civil Service in 1870 is Satyendranath Tagore. What equipment is used to detect the earthquake and record them is seismography. What equipment is used to detect the earthquake and record them is seismography. In which state of India is the festival of Mahagam celebrated once in 12 years is Tamil Nadu? In which state is Tamil Nadu? In which state of India is festival Mahamagam celebrated once in 12 years is Tamil Nadu? When was the third battle of Panipat fought? On 14th January 1761. The third battle of Panipat found on the 14th January 1761. In which year known as the Great Dividing Year in the population history of India? In 1921. In which year was known as the Great Dividing Year in the population history of India? Great Dividing Year means 1921 year. Where did the Buddha give his last sermon before the Mahanirvana is Vaishali? Where did the Buddha give his last sermon before the Mahanirvana is Vaishali? Who introduced the Royatwari system during the British rule in India? Captain Alexander Reid. And who introduced the Royatwari system during the British rule in India? Captain Alexander Reid. Which bank was known as the Imperial Bank of India before 1995? State Bank of India. And which bank was known as the Imperial Bank of India before 1955? Is State Bank of India. Which bank was known as the Imperial Bank of India before 1995? Is State Bank of India. Which festival of Punjab is traditionally associated with the harvesting of rabi crop? Is Bakshi. Which festival of Punjab is traditionally associated with the harvesting of the rabi crop? Is Bayakshi. Who was founder of the Nalanda and Vikramasheela Universities? Dharmapala. And who was the founder of Nalanda and Vikramasheela Universities? Is Dharmapala. In which year did the Indian win the first football gold medal at the Asian Games? Is 1951. In which year did the Indian win the first football gold medal at the Asian Games? Is 1951. Between whom was the battle of Chandawar fought? That is Muhammad Ghori and Jaichand. Between whom was the battle of Chandawar fort? That is Chandawara fort, Muhammad Ghori and Jaichand. And which part of Indian Constitution has the rulers that related to the election of president describes under the part 5? At which part of Indian Constitution are the rules related to the election of president describes under the part 5. Which article of Indian Constitution describes the roles and responsibilities of Council of Ministers in Indian Parliament is Article 74. Which article of Indian Constitution describes the roles and responsibilities of the Council of Ministers in the Indian Parliament is Article 74. On which day is National Consumer Day is observed? On December 24. And which day is the National Consumer Day is observed in India in December 24. Which finance minister of Mughal Emperor Akbar introduced the system of taxation of is called the Dahasala Raj Todarmal. Which finance minister of Mughal Emperor of Akbar introduced the system of the taxation called Dahasala is Raj Todarmal. In 1756, who became the Nawab of Bengal after the Alivardi Khan in 1756 is Sirajuddaulah, who became the Nawab of the Bengal after the Alivardi Khan in 1756 is Sirajuddaulah. Thank you.